Have you ever found yourself wondering why your knees ache more than they used to? Or why your energy seems to dip right after lunch? Maybe you're already eating what you think is a healthy diet, low in sugar, low in fat, maybe even cutting out red meat, but something still feels off. Your joints creak a little louder. Your heartbeat feels a little heavier after climbing stairs. You chalk it up to age. And sure, some changes are part of getting older, but what if I told you that certain foods, even ones that seem healthy, might be quietly sabotaging your heart and your joints? You see, after 70, your body becomes a little more sensitive to what you put into it. What your body once tolerated in your 40s or 50s can now trigger inflammation, joint pain, or even raise your risk of heart problems. And the frustrating part? These aren't just obvious culprits like junk food or soda. No, some of these foods are sitting right in your fridge or pantry, and you've probably been told they're good for you. But don't worry. Today we're going to shine a light on 5 foods that many people over 70 are still eating, without realizing the damage they might be doing. More importantly, we're going to talk about why these foods can be harmful at this stage in life, and what you can do instead. Because when it comes to aging well, knowledge and small daily choices can make all the difference. Let's start with one that surprises almost everyone: whole wheat bread. Yes, really? I know. Whole wheat is supposed to be the healthy bread. For decades, we were told to swap out white bread for whole wheat, and many people did exactly that. But here's the thing. Just because something is whole wheat doesn't mean it's good for your heart or your joints. Most commercial whole wheat bread today is still heavily processed. It often contains added sugars, preservatives, and refined grain. Is that spike your blood sugar almost as fast as white bread? And what happens when your blood sugar spikes? Your body responds with inflammation. And chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the biggest silent killers after 70. It's linked not only to joint pain and stiffness, but also to a higher risk of heart disease. Now imagine eating that toast every morning, thinking it's healthy, when in reality it's nudging your body toward more inflammation each day. Instead, try switching to something like sprouted grain bread, or even better, sourdough made the traditional way, which is lower in gluten and gentler on your gut. And if you're up for it, you might even try skipping bread altogether a few days a week and replacing it with a protein-rich breakfast like eggs with avocado or Greek yogurt with berries. Your joints and your heart will thank you. Now let's talk about something that hides in plain sight on many dinner tables: margarine, or so-called vegetable oil spreads. Back in the day, margarine was marketed as a heart-healthy alternative to butter. It was low in saturated fat, it looked healthy, and it lasted forever in the fridge. But here's what we didn't know then. Many types of margarine and processed spreads are loaded with trans fats. And even if the label says 0 grams, they can still contain up to 0.5 grams per serving. Sounds small, right? But those tiny amounts add up, especially when you're using it daily. Trans fats are not your friend. They stiffen your arteries, raise your bad cholesterol, lower your good cholesterol, and cause widespread inflammation throughout the body. And once again, inflammation doesn't just make your knees feel stiff or your hands ache when the weather changes. It also strains your heart, narrows your blood vessels, and increases your risk of stroke or heart attack. So what can you do instead? Go back to basics. Real butter in moderation is far safer than margarine. Or better yet, try extra virgin olive oil, especially when you're dipping bread or cooking at low to medium heat. It's full of heart-healthy fats and anti-inflammatory compounds. If you're craving that buttery flavor, ghee, which is clarified butter, is another great option, especially for those who are sensitive to dairy. By now, you might be thinking, well, I don't eat much margarine, and I barely touch bread anymore. I should be okay, right? And maybe you are. But there's another sneaky food that even health-conscious seniors tend to overlook: flavored low-fat yogurt. Yep, the one that says heart-healthy or digestive-friendly on the label. Yogurt can be a great food, full of protein and probiotics, but when it's flavored and low-fat, it often comes with a big dose of added sugar to make up for the loss in taste. And sugar, as we know, is one of the worst offenders when it comes to inflammation and heart strain. Here's how it works. When you eat sugar, your blood glucose rises quickly. Your body scrambles to bring it back down by releasing insulin. But the more often this happens, the more your body becomes resistant. That leads to higher insulin levels over time, which not only causes weight gain but also promotes inflammation. And that inflammation? It doesn't just affect your joints. It can trigger stiff arteries, swollen ankles, or even heart arrhythmias. Instead of flavored low-fat yogurts, go for plain full-fat Greek yogurt or unsweetened plant-based options. Add your own fruit, like blueberries or raspberries, and a handful of walnuts or chia seeds. You'll get all the benefits of yogurt with none of the sugar crash. Now that we've peeled back the curtain on these common foods, whole wheat bread, margarine, and flavored yogurts, you might be wondering, what else could be quietly doing damage? And you'd be right to ask. The truth is, there are more foods just like these, ones that sneak into your daily routine and set off a chain reaction in the body. Pain, stiffness, fatigue, and worse. But don't feel discouraged. The goal here isn't to scare you or make you throw out everything in your kitchen. It's to empower you. Because once you know what to look out for, you can make simple swaps that truly support your health. It's canned soup. Now I know what you might be thinking. Soup? Really? After all, it's warm, comforting, and often filled with vegetables. On a chilly afternoon or when you don't feel like cooking, popping open a can of soup feels like an easy, healthy choice. But here's the problem most people miss: the sodium. Canned soups, even the ones labeled as low sodium or heart healthy, can still pack in over 800 milligrams of sodium per serving. And let's be honest, most of us eat the whole can, not just half. That means you're likely getting close to, or even more than, your entire recommended daily intake of sodium in one bowl. And excess sodium is a major contributor to high blood pressure, which in turn strains your heart and can lead to heart attacks, strokes, and kidney problems. But it's not just your heart that pays the price. High sodium intake also causes water retention, which can make your joints feel swollen and achy, especially if you already deal with arthritis or stiffness. You might notice your rings fitting tighter or your ankles puffing up after a salty meal. That's your body holding on to extra fluid to dilute the salt in your bloodstream, and that fluid can settle in your joints and tissues, making movement feel heavier and more uncomfortable. So what's the fix? You don't have to give up soup altogether. In fact, homemade soup can be one of the best things you can eat. Nutrient-dense, hydrating, and easy to digest. Try making a simple batch with fresh or frozen veggies, low-sodium broth, and lean protein like chicken or lentils. You can make a big pot and freeze portions for later, so it's just as convenient as opening a can, but infinitely better for your heart and your joints. And if you're short on time or energy, look for truly low-sodium options with under 300 milligrams per serving. Always check the label. Don't let the healthy branding fool you. Now let's talk about a food that might be sitting on your kitchen counter right now. A fruit, even. Bananas. Now don't get me wrong. Bananas aren't exactly bad. They're a great source of potassium. They're easy on the stomach, and they come in their own convenient packaging. But here's the catch. For some people over 70, bananas can cause more harm than good, especially when it comes to inflammation and blood sugar. You see, bananas are high in sugar and starch, especially the ripe ones. A medium banana can have about 14 grams of sugar, and while that's natural sugar, it still affects your blood glucose the same way candy does. If you're eating one first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, that sugar rush can spike your insulin levels, leading to an energy crash a couple of hours later. Over time, those sugar spikes can lead to insulin resistance, weight gain around the belly, and more stress on your joints and heart. And if you already have prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, bananas can silently be making it worse, even if everything else in your diet looks clean. Now, does this mean you can never eat a banana again? Not necessarily, but it's important to be mindful. If you love bananas, try eating just half and pair it with protein or fat, like a spoon of peanut butter or a boiled egg. That way the sugar is absorbed more slowly and you won't get that sudden spike and crash. Alternatively, swap them out a few days a week for berries, which are lower in sugar and packed with antioxidants that fight inflammation. So let's take a breath here. At this point, we've looked at 5 foods that many people over 70 are eating without realizing the damage they could be doing. Whole wheat bread that secretly spikes blood sugar, margarine that stiffens arteries, sugary yogurts masquerading as health food, salty canned soups that leave your joints swollen, and even bananas, which seem harmless but can sneak in too much sugar too fast. And here's what I want you to take away from all this. You are not powerless. Not even close. The beauty of this stage of life is that you get to decide how you want to feel every day. Do you want to wake up with more energy? Do you want to move through the day with less stiffness, less pain, and more joy? It doesn't require a dramatic overhaul. It just starts with noticing. Noticing what you're eating, noticing how your body responds, and most importantly, noticing how small choices add up to big changes over time. This isn't about cutting out everything you enjoy. It's about becoming more intentional, so your heart beats stronger, your joints move easier, and you get to enjoy more of the things you love, walking with your grandkids, gardening, dancing, or simply waking up and feeling good. So where do you go from here? Start by taking a look at your meals today. Is there one food you've eaten out of habit, maybe that toast in the morning or that canned soup for lunch, that you now realize might not be serving you anymore? Try swapping it out. Just one thing. See how you feel. Your body has an incredible ability to heal and respond when given the right support, even in your 70s, 80s, and beyond. And remember, you don't have to do this perfectly. Progress is more important than perfection. The goal isn't to cut everything bad overnight. It's to shift slowly but surely toward a way of eating that makes you feel energized, mobile, and strong. Because you deserve that every single day. And before we wrap up, let's take a moment to really connect all these pieces. If you've been eating some of these foods, whole wheat bread, margarine, sugary yogurt, canned soup, or even bananas, don't feel bad. Most of us were simply following what we were taught. We were told these foods were healthy, that they were better choices, or that they were low in fat or good for digestion. But science has changed. Our understanding of aging, inflammation, and nutrition has grown. And now we know that what we eat can either help us thrive or slowly wear us down. What's powerful is that the damage caused by these foods isn't set in stone. Your body is constantly renewing itself. Your heart cells, your joints, even your brain, all of it responds to what you feed it, how you move, and how you live. That means even if you've been eating the wrong things for years, you can still turn things around. Let's quickly revisit what we've covered, not as a list, but as a feeling. Maybe now you'll look at that slice of bread in the morning and pause, realizing it might be making your knees ache by the afternoon. Maybe you'll glance at that tub of margarine in the fridge and swap it for a bottle of olive oil that feels more like nourishment than just a spread. Maybe you'll reach for full-fat yogurt and throw in some berries and walnuts instead of picking up a sugar-laden fruit version. And maybe, just maybe, you'll smile when you make your own soup or enjoy a banana with some protein instead of on its own. Because now you know how to make these small changes that protect your heart and your joints. And here's the truth. You're not doing this to deprive yourself. You're doing this to feel better, to walk easier, to laugh more, and to wake up with less pain and more peace in your body. Because when your body is inflamed, when your joints are stiff or your heart is under strain, it's not just physical discomfort. It can affect your sleep, your mood, your patience, even your relationships. And the right foods, real, healing, anti-inflammatory foods, can lift that burden in ways you might not expect. You might notice your hands aren't as swollen, your knees don't creak as much when you get out of bed, your heartbeat feels steadier, your walk feels lighter. And that's not a miracle. It's just your body finally getting the support it's been asking for. So what do you do now? You don't need to throw away everything in your kitchen tonight. Just pick one change, one swap. Maybe tomorrow morning you choose Greek yogurt with cinnamon and blueberries instead of flavored yogurt. Or maybe you go to the store and try out a new loaf of sprouted grain bread instead of your usual brand. Maybe you dust off that old soup pot and try a homemade batch with simple ingredients. Whatever it is, just begin. Because small steps create momentum, and momentum creates transformation. And along the way, be kind to yourself. This isn't about being perfect. You're not on a diet. You're not on a cleanse. You're not punishing yourself. You're simply choosing to feel better, one meal at a time. And if you ever feel overwhelmed, remember this. Your body wants to heal. Your body wants to thrive. And every time you feed it something nourishing, every time you make a choice with care, you're giving it the chance to do exactly that. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you been eating any of the foods we talked about today? Did any of them surprise you? Or have you already made a change that's helped your joints or heart feel better? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments. I read every one, and your journey might inspire someone else who's just getting started. And if you found this video helpful, take a moment to like it. It really helps others find this information, especially those who may be struggling silently. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Every week, we talk about real, practical ways to feel better, move easier, and live fully at any age. You're not too old. It's not too late. And you're not doing this alone. Here's to eating better, feeling stronger, and living your absolute best life, starting right now. You've got this.